Hello everyone, my name is Onyinye. I'm a Scrum Master at Decagon. Today I'll be speaking to you about the Scrum framework. Scrum is used in developing, delivering, and sustaining products in a complex environment. Scrum emphasizes on iterations or sprints. These sprints are development cycles where the Scrum team comes together to define, build, integrate, and test user stories from the product backlog. The Scrum team is usually made up of the product manager, Scrum Master, and the developers and or engineers. The goal at the end of each sprint is to have working software. That is the goal. So these iterations can take a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, but it's usually encouraged to take the shorter sprints because it allows for adaptability and inspection to happen more frequently to avoid waste. And talking about adaptability and inspection, that's 2 out of the 3 Scrum values we practice. So there's transparency, inspection, and adaptability. With regards to transparency, here at Decagon we use the Jira board, so everybody, all the engineers know what needs to be done, what is in progress, and what needs to be moved to QA and before we go to being done. Now, going into the sprint, we already have the product backlog. The product backlog it contains a list of features that we're trying to incorporate into a new product or incorporate it into making an already existing product even better. So going into sprint planning, we break these, or the engineering team, this is where they really do the heavy lifting. They break these epics of features into user stories, and then they estimate these user stories. We estimate the effort used to deliver on the user stories. We don't like to use time, we estimate effort. So it's also a coming together of the engineers estimating the effort that they need. And then, because we're an agile team and we're collaborative and we're self-organizing, there's help. If you complete your own task, you can help another person that is still trying to perform their tasks. So going into the sprint proper, we have what we call the daily stand-up or the daily scrum. So this is a meeting time box at 15 minutes. This is where the Scrum team comes together to talk about, particularly the engineers, talk about what they've done the previous day, what they're doing currently, and if they've experienced any impediments or blockers. Yes, it is the job of the Scrum Master to take away these impediments, but because, like I said, we're self-organizing and collaborative, these things are usually taken care of before the next stand-up meeting, because you don't want a situation where a blocker is exacerbated because it has been left unattended. So after the end of this sprint, we have what we call the sprint review. Here the stakeholders come, and we test these user stories and see if they've met the acceptance criteria and what we've defined as, or what we have said is the definition of done, before they're moved. And we say it's working software. Anything that is undone is moved back into the product backlog and left for another day, for another sprint. So after the sprint review, we go into the sprint retrospective, and this is done without the stakeholder. It is just the Scrum team coming together to say, okay, look, what have we done well, what didn't we do well, how can we improve going into the next sprint.